remember, like, going into the 90s? Like, there's some movies that I would recommend you leave in the past. The movies with cops. So you had one cop who was playing by the rules, ready for retirement. The other one who was rogue. Took the badge. Maverick. He's a maverick. He don't play by the rules. He's dangerous. He hangs on to 18-wheelers going, 90 miles per hour by the side and takes a fleet of army down, a whole fleet. Just talking about it, I get blurry. That's how bad it gets. No, there's no rules. Once you take the badge off, anything goes. It's full on, too, when the good cop who played by the rules his whole career goes,
all right, I'm taking my badge off, too, for this one time.
And, you think about those films we grew up on, is the cop movies, lawyer TV shows, the hospital shows. You would think that the only jobs in America are cops, lawyers, and some gig at the hospital. Real Deal Media presents an original late night podcast called Late Night Thoughts with Dean Ryan. That time of night when you're drifting into the unknown, trying to forget the very well-known thoughts come to you. Sometimes they're deep, sometimes shallow. Sometimes they're not even thoughts at all. Whatever they are, they're late, and it's at late night. Tonight is a return to form, almost. We have a big show for a very big audience and a very big time to be alive. You're going to be hearing things in the Psyops on Ice. Thank you. Thank you. That's our house band. That's our house band. Well, we are live, aren't we? Yes, we are. Welcome, everybody. This is Dean Ryan here through Late Night Thoughts in Studio B. Studio B. Yes, Studio B, as I am awaiting my return to form, if that ever comes. So my main RDM computer is in the shop. Yes, it is. It's getting repairs. Probably getting bugged by the Mossad as we speak, but that's another story. Tonight is Late Night Thoughts, a Real Deal Media original podcast, where our motto is we talk about everything and absolutely nothing at all, but tonight has a purpose to it. As it's called, this episode is entitled Psyops on Ice. Psyops on Ice. Shaken, not stirred. That's entirely correct here tonight. We are going to welcome the return of Jim Fetzer, as he has some news to share with us, as he'll be joining us in a roundtable with a first-time guest, and a very talented guest at that. He goes by the Phoenix Enigma, but his birth name is Corey Daniel. Yes, and Corey is going to be joining us in a roundtable as we discuss the PSYOPs being done and at hand with the Immigration Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. We'll be getting into the details of that as this thing seems to be evolving into a catastrophic calamity that the United States has seen probably since 1968 at Kent University. Probably even worse, because this time these students seem to be armed. Would have thought. We're going to be talking about that and the implications of what is truly the reasoning for the seasoning, and I have a thing or two to say about that. And as we get through that, we're going to be parlaying into the biggest PSYOP on ice, and that is the ever so evolving Charlie Kirk story. And now some new whistleblower testimony is really putting a lot of dirty, mucky fingers into a very, very, very big suspicious spotlight, I guess you could say. And what is the connection and the correlation, if any, to a Issac Kappy? Yeah, that's something to think about, something to wet your whistle with. But before we get started, we are broadcasting here live. We're broadcasting here live on Facebook over there at TheRealDeanRyan on the Travel Channel. And hopefully people can see me over there. We are very shadow banned, that I can't even get arrested over there. That's how bad it is. I can do whatever I want. Also, we are broadcasting on Dean Ryan TV over there on YouTube, the wonderful graveyard, and the very wonderful graveyard over there on Rumble, where we have a frozen winter storm by the daily. With that said, we also might have a surprise guest who might be joining us for the roundtable to talk about the ice in the Charlie Kirk. But it wouldn't be a surprise if I told you now, would it? Anyways, let's get started here. We're going to be talking about just that, the immigration custom force and enforcement. It's quite emotional. And we're going to be getting into some of the most recent chatter that is now being said is going to spark the new American Civil War. And who benefits from something like that? Who benefits from the enforcement of the immigration? Now we have Border Patrol within cities over there in Minneapolis, which is another hot spot we haven't seen in 5 years. And then who's going to benefit from a civil war? Who's going to get out of the hot seat if the new American spring is sprung onto us? All these questions, all these conspiracies, they might call it. Well, we don't believe in theories here. We believe in conspiratorials, but really conspiracy reality. And that's what it's all about. Let's now welcome some of our fine contestants, but our patrons, our brethren, our colleagues. Let's welcome back a man who needs no introduction, the one and only legendary Jim Fetzer. Jim, it is so good to see you here tonight. And I know you're going to be adding a lot to the table here. And I can't wait for it.
Dean, it's always a pleasure. And I'm glad to have Corey here, too. That's excellent.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And Jim, I'm going to have to tell you to lower your volume, please. Because I hear myself back and I sound like my father, and it's quite scary. Okay, also, I want to welcome first-time guests. Okay, Jim. Well, there you are. Just want to make sure you're there. Okay. Next, I want to welcome first-time guest all the way from Arizona, a man who's studied the occultic symbologies of life, but a man who I discovered who was at the forefront of the Issac Kappy case just a handful of years ago now, it feels. And he is a talented guide of everything Arizona, from the underground to the overground, man who understands, but also a man who overstands too, sometimes with knowledge and power and wisdom. That's the one, the only Phoenix Enigma, Corey Daniel. Corey, so good to see you.
Hey there, man. How you doing tonight?
I've had better nights, but I'm getting better all the time, as the Beatles said. But it's going to be going to be a wonderful night. There's a lot to add to it, and also now joining us too, Corey, a man who's also been on the tails and the trails of everything Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, is our very own colleague himself, Mr. Neil. Not Neil Sedaka, Neil Bishop. Join the stage, will you please? Neil, so good to see you. And Jim, okay, there you are.
Hey.
Okay, everybody.
Hey.
It's good. Well, Neil's blue, I'm red, Jim's green, and Corey's black. So we look like a roulette table.
I don't know what's going on.
We didn't plan it this way. Well, if you ever wondered, we're going to be playing a game of just bingo here, bingo night. Well, let's just, the talk of the nation right now that everybody seems to be noticing is what's happening in Minneapolis again. Jim, I will just start with you, since you and I covered this 5 years ago with the fake dead black guy named George Floyd, nothing more than a mannequin with disappearing tattoos. But never mind that. Here we are again 5 years later, Jim. What are we to make of everything happening in Minneapolis?
Well, I'm worried that we're getting an instant replay, that these events may be staged rather than authentic. The case with Debbie Good looks more authentic than the one with Alex Petty, because he had an earlier incident. He has died twice, once as an IDF soldier. And there are a lot of manipulations to make his character look less apparent, more American, less Jewish. I'm worried. I got a friend I did a show with whose dad was a basketball coach, and he used to talk about how sometimes there's too much motion, too much going on. You need economy. And when you got all these guys swarming on him, it doesn't look right. And the gun, he was concealed carry, had a permit, but it was taken away from him before he was purportedly shot. I'm worried that we're being played all over again.
Wait a minute, Jim. Are you insinuating that this most recent shooting of Mr. Petty is nothing more than a concocted scheme of sorts?
I'm sorry to say it may be, Dean, and we got to be very cautious in treating it. There's some images where the head of one of the ICE guys is missing in action, for example, and there's just various aspects of it that don't look right.
Okay. Corey, you want to jump in, as I think Neil's about to take off for flight there. I might have a fan behind him on. Just incredible.
Yeah.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I got some cursory, opinions about what's going on up there in Minneapolis right now. It's it seems to be on the heels of what's been happening with it was the senator and the congressman, people that got shot earlier this year. What was his name? I covered that in one of my deep dives as well. I forget their names now. There's so many psyops going on. It would appear to me to be what's referred to as a hybrid false flag. I don't think these conspiracies, are all mapped out to a T, to a time, to a place. If you create the situation and you amp everybody up and you put them all in there, something's going to happen. ICE agents are now being trained over in Israel with occupation tactics, as opposed to peacekeeping tactics. It looks to me like they just put them on the ground and said, "Hey, let's just go thump some people until we get the reaction that we want," and they just create the climate, and then they got it.
Well, interesting. And Neil, I'll go to you, but there seems to be some truth to what Corey and Jim are saying. In fact, here's a little teaser of it.
What city is it, Chief? Fucking Irish's fire fucking city. Arrest as many people that touch you as you want to. Those are the general orders all the way to the top. Everybody fucking gets it if they touch you. You hear what I'm saying? Less legals. We're going to look at shipping tractor trailer loads of that shit in here. So you catch what it's all about us now. It ain't about them. Professional, legal, ethical, moral. You know what we're talking about. Legal, ethical, moral. You're on camera. But other than that, it's what we do.
There you go.
Wow. Neil, why don't you take it from there? Because what Corey just said to me, it's almost a continuation of Obama's Peaceful Streets initiative, where you took the federal guns and toys, you took the IDF training as well, and he took all the bad soldiers from the Iraq War to join all the police precincts. What's your take on that, Neil Bishop?
Well, I couldn't see the video that you played. My player just doesn't, my laptop doesn't recognize it. But I would say that this is a pretty good psyop. And I don't know if you caught my play on words there, Dean. But we've got Mr. Pretty and Mrs. Good right by each other, and there's 33s everywhere again. There's the dinosaurs. There's all this stuff. It's so strange. And so here's what people need to remember. And when I look at this stuff now, my go-to is this is some sort of psychological operation, whether it's staged, whether there's a projection screen, whether it's real. It honestly, in my mind, doesn't matter because it's real to us. It's real to people that are watching. And why are they doing it? It's they have to have the controllers have to have chaos, and there needs to be chaos in the streets right now. And we know that because I mean this is the way they've been working for the last who knows how long, decades and decades. And so if they don't have chaos, then they're not able to further their agenda, which is ultimately what Trump's been talking about, and that's a police state. And Trump's been on there. Trump's been talking about this for years, but giving immunity to police officers, not being able to sue them, and then martial law and taking law enforcement, federal law enforcement to the street and all this stuff. My take right now is if this is really happening in Minnesota, the federal government should get completely out of it. Give Minnesotans the opportunity to deal with it. If they don't want to deal with it, then border it off and make it its own little Somalian state. And the rest of us can go back to our lives and they can do whatever they want in Minnesota. That's kind of my take right now.
Sure. Well, here's what I'm seeing, everybody, is this is exactly what it is. Every time we see Israel's hills, on their hills or their backs against the wall, Jim and everybody, we see some huge catastrophe that just grabs the attention of the headlines in America. You fast forward back a year ago, something with Epstein and Israel was in the papers. Boom, bunch of firefighters in Idaho got shot up randomly. We don't know why. There's been no follow-up to that. And here we are again, where the awakening bear of America is now saying no more. What Israel's been taking, how much? And Jim, didn't you tell me 55 trillion has been missing that we're just now discovering?
Oh, yeah.
To me the other day. Yeah, go ahead.
Neil made a nice point about the good thing. There were 33s all over the place, and it's like they're playing with us. Yeah. We didn't actually see her be shot. We did later see a hole in the windshield. There was a little bit of what looked like blood on the seat. It's like with Charlie Kirk. We never saw the body. I mean, it's just astounding how often we are played by events that really weren't as they were presented. But a key aspect of this also was implied by Neil, namely, as Henry Kissinger observed, the facts don't matter. What matters is perceptions, meaning how most people interpret what's taking place. Most people think both of these and Charlie's shooting were all authentic. They were real. Charlie's dead. Debbie's dead. Alex is dead. They believe it 100%. And it's making a big difference politically.
I'd say so because, Corey, it seems to be Kristi Noem seems to be on the chopping block.
Here we are with Marco and Brian today. They're letting me roll with them. We're going to go out and pick up somebody who I think is got charges of human trafficking. We earlier had an op that swept up somebody who was wanted for murder. So appreciate the good work that they do every day, and we appreciate them working to make America safe.
All right, my thoughts. First of all, Kristi Noem's doing what she's told to do. Pam Bondi's doing exactly what she is told to do. Kash Patel is doing what he is told to do. Bongino would not do or couldn't do, I believe, what he was expected to do. I think a lot of this, all of it makes a whole lot more sense if people stop looking at Israel as its own nation. Israel is a proxy state for the Western hegemony developed by the victors of World War II after World War II. It was developed by the victors of World War II in order to control the Middle East. So it could be never-ending confabulation forever there, and we can just exert power and utilize them when we don't want to get our name out there. It was the OSS back in the day with, I guess, whatever the predecessor of MI6 was, and all the intelligence that got together and created the nation state of Israel, which is a Zionist ethno-state. That once you look at it,
yeah.
once you look at the world through that lens right there, everything else makes sense. Epstein wasn't the most brilliant leader of an underground sex trafficking. About 15% of his crimes were actually sex, and that was for leverage. That was in order to blackmail and honeypot. Let me turn my ears down here just a little bit. Most of his crimes were financial. He was gun running. They were regime change. He was working on financing for the world leaders. For the Western world leaders anyway. And that's what Issac Kappy was working on. Isaac was spearheading an underground social media movement called Unseal Epstein. And he got killed or officially committed suicide on the way to see his mom on Mother's Day on May 13th, 2019. If you've watched my show, if you've seen my work, if you've gone to my website, thefinishedligma.com, and checked out the Issac Kappy mind map, free, by the way, no paywalls, everything is there. Videos, PDFs, text messages. I spent 4.5, still, as you know, am investigating the death of Issac Kappy. I've worked with the FBI, the Attorney General of Arizona. And it was all about Epstein. It was all about Epstein. Isaac said, Epstein is the keystone to the whole mother effing matrix. And once you pull it out, it all comes down. And we've watched it since 2019 and 20. And Biden covered it up. And then Trump got in. And we thought, oh my God, thank God Trump's in, because we all voted. We all supported him. I was with Stop the Steal rallies down there in Phoenix. You know the Q shaman, Jake Chansley?
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine. There's pictures of us up on stage handing the bullhorn back and forth. I was supposed to go to DC with him, and I'm like, no, dude, it's trapped. Don't go. It's gonna be a Fed apocalypse. And I had interviewed him on January 6th. Anyway, not to get off
right
the rails here, but what you're looking at is a continuation of the people that put Epstein up in order to control the finances and leverage and of the world. That all came down, and Trump's covering that up right now the way Biden did, because Trump is quite literally deep state. He's literally the deep state. We've seen it.
Well, it's Neil, it's coming out. Jim, you were a big, supporter, still might be. And, and let's even speak to the fact that, we talk about Minnesota. How did the Somalis get there? I've always wondered. Well, now I know it's the Zionists that put them there to reenact a Kalergi plan in due time. And Corey, to get esoteric, I'm now even figuring out, I heard about this, is the LGBTQ, the rainbow flag. I always thought they stole it from the Irish. No, I'm now discovering it's from the no-hide laws. And that was like their colors, and that was what they were representing. So there's all these.
What about MAGA?
Yes,
MAGA,
there's all these things that were clued. Go
MAGA
ahead.
is the highest priest in the Satanic Church, the MAGA. I am an occultist, and I just for your listenership, my listeners know this. I'm an occultist the way criminologist studies crime. I study the occult.
Theologian. Right, like a theologian of sorts.
So a lot of Christians think, oh, you're an occultist, you worship Satan. That's their knowledge level of the occult, which means occulted or hidden from view. And we're talking about the totality of the ancient knowledge that's been the underpinnings of Western civilization through our rise as a species. That which is not taught in public schools, right. That which is held for the Princeton and Yale, Skull and Bones, all the higher echelons, of our society. That's what's not taught to us. And from the psychology to the science, you got Merlin somewhere in a basement mixing chemicals together like an alchemist. That was back in the day. Now we got men in MIT and Texas Instruments bending space and time with lasers. Nothing has changed.
Interesting. Jim, did you want to add to that? I saw you might want to.
I was going to pick up on disillusionment with Trump, who campaigned as a peace candidate, but has turned out to be a warmonger. His foreign policy is so totally Zionist driven. He's evidently Bibi's puppet. I'm very, very unhappy. I voted for the guy 3 times. I thought he was for real. And now I feel I've been played in a gigantic con game where the guy's really a master at marketing and deception. And I'm very disillusioned and acutely disappointed.
Yes, and Neil, I saw you wanted to add to that because Neil Bishop, you've been to Mar-a-Lago. You've rubbed elbows with these people. You've been raided by the FBI under Biden. You were declared a domestic terrorist because you went to a school cafeteria to raise questions and were labeled just that, and were raided, and they still have all your stuff. And Kash Patel, the man who looks like he's being held at gunpoint 24/7, just my point of view.
Yeah, right.
I mean, let's just be honest here. You thought it was going to be a sea change, and you would get all your stuff back, and you would have complete transparency. And is that how you feel now, or am I just embellishing a bit here?
No, it's been. I don't know what the word is, like, because we were never really like mega people. I wasn't wearing the MAGA hat and going around. And honestly, to what our colleague there said, I mean, I was even, Trump, before he got in this last time, I had some concerns about the whole MAGA movement. I felt like it was more of a worshiping a celebrity than it was like, let's have a revolution and seriously take our country back. And that's what it's turned into. And so we had very high hopes personally that we were going to get phone calls right away. At the very least, get all of our stuff back, an apology. I mean, this has been going on for us we're going on 4.5 years now. And it's still an open investigation currently under Kash Patel's FBI when we were unlawfully raided back in November of 2021. And so we've been under the thumb of tyranny personally for many years. So I would say it's somewhat heartbreaking for people who really needed justice. And we are not victims whatsoever. And there have been people that have been hurt much harder than we've been hurt throughout the years by the previous administration and so forth. We really had high hopes. I will say this, Kash Patel's girlfriend is not Mossad, okay? Wink, wink. And she's not a honeypot, wink, wink. I just want to make that clear for the record. She likes Kash for who Kash is, and not for just his one.
Yes.
Who wouldn't?
She's a great singer too. She's a great singer, right, Jim? We got tickets to go see her concert.
She's an all-American, good old country singer. Yep, that's right.
She likes corn dogs. Jim, is this the time? Because I mean, I talk to a lot of people who would be classified as liberal. They're either very scared or very angry. Should we be getting our muskets and getting ready for a civil war, and going to Neil's house and have Corey drive us there? What do we do now? Should we prepare for a civil war? Because I got my old uniform ready. You're a Marine too, so you would know.
I wish we could dismiss the idea altogether. I felt initially they were trying to exacerbate black-white relations, but the fault line is very different. It's really got to do with the immigration. I think the Democrats have benefited enormously. They got these big numbers. They're voting Democrat. They bought them hook, line, and sinker. They've changed the demographics. They're getting more members in the House. They don't want it to end. They worry they could never win another election if it weren't for this artificial form of support from an external source flooding the country. And when you see governors, even if there's pathetic as this guy Walz, and he's about as corrupt and disgusting, repulsive as any governor I've ever seen in the history of the United States, and this Mayor Fry, clearly, all out for the Zionist agenda. I think we're seeing the fault line. It's really being defined by attitudes toward immigration, ICE, and removal from the country. I think it must proceed. I think that was one of Trump's biggest selling point, and he has domestically been a lot better in fulfilling his promises than he has internationally. But there it is. I'm worried.
I mean, Corey, this is terrible public relations. This is horrible PR. whether people are dead or not, whether this is a skit, and that's going to turn out for the good. Because I see people who are gone as the base of Trump, and I don't see them ever coming back. I mean,
let me give a different perspective on this, man.
And MTG is one of them. Just to add to the fire, I mean, who would have ever dreamt years ago that woman would have no relations with Trump anymore? I mean, this is where we are. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah. Let me give you a different perspective how I see this. Again, don't look at Israel as its own nation. I am not Christian. I am not religious at all. I study theology. I've studied all of them, going back to Zoroastrianism, which is the roots of Judaism in part, as well as Christianity, all the esoteric layered knowledge below that. Look at Israel as a proxy for Western hegemony after World War II. It was the next system that was set up, and we project power from there. When you get to domestic politics, does anyone in this room or listening out there believe that we have a 51, 49, 56, 44 balance on the presidential vote every year? Every single year, back and forth right there between governor. There's no way. There's just no way mathematically that's possible year after year after year. We are kept there. It is a show. It is a game. It is my opinion. It does not matter who you vote for anymore. It simply does not matter. I mean, it does in the sense they need us to play the game because they're working the game, but it is a false dichotomy because the government is not ran by necessarily Trump or your governor or all that. It is, but it's not. It is the unelected deep state beneath that. It is quite literally, not to sound cliche, but it's the Council on Foreign Relations. It is all those groups below that do the treaties, that do the warfare. It is, in fact, actually, and the president and everyone who we do vote for, where's the money come from? From the RNC and the DNC. It all comes from the military-industrial complex. It comes from the big, huge whale donors. And Israel. We give money to Israel. They wash it and send it right back in to Democrats and Republicans both. I mean, we can't decide, Democrats and Republicans, on who to like for damn dog catcher, but something for Israel comes up and they're all scared to death. Why? Because they got blackmail. They got dirt on all of them. Every single one of them. Why do you think Carrie Lake did not make it to the governor here in Arizona? Okay. I'm pretty close to this. My very good friend was Lake's attorney. Okay. So I've been involved in this since the very beginning, 2022 and 2020.
Oh yeah. I met Carrie Lake too. We spent a evening together.
She's a cool cat. She is exactly in person how she is. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, step on you.
No, I was just agreeing with you. She is a genuine person, and Jim loves her too. And we spent an evening hanging out there. Going.
But she was not part of the inner circle. She was not willing to do. She was a true America First person. She was not into this Trump agenda. What is the Trump agenda? The Trump agenda is the Zionist agenda. Zionism, by the way, Zionism was around long before Israel. Okay, it's an old ethno philosophy. Look up proto-Zionism if anyone wants a good study into that. And for all you people out there who are hating the Jews and it ain't the Jews, guys. It's the Zionists. Zionism hijacked Judaism. Go ask the Jews and they'll tell you. Okay. So that's kind of
there's some truth to that too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to what you're saying, and the Christian Zionism too. And Neil Bishop just educated us just weeks and weeks ago about the Schofield Bible and how Schofield was infiltrated, and how many Christian people know that?
And who funded the Schofield Bible? It was Rockefeller.
Neil. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zionist.
Yeah.
Zionist did.
That's right.
So we're in a pickle, and it's going to come down to.
Oh yeah, there's so much here.
There is, and your average person in America who's taking the kids to soccer practice, and in my case, milking and feeding the goats because we have a goat farm, and doing the dishes and cleaning your house and going to work and having some time with your beautiful wife over here. I love her. They don't have time to learn all of this. They don't commit to this as their duty as an American in a free country. I have, and you guys have, obviously, our own roads into this, and quite anyone out here in the chat room watching. But there's a lot to know, and there's a lot of stuff to get through. There's a lot of information, disinformation, all the way down.
Right.
It's insane.
Well, you know,
there is to understand this.
My mind is so blown. We have we don't have a break coming up just yet, but Neil, I know, you rose to the occasion with Schofield. These are things I didn't know. We had another panelist with us on a show we did previously that knew everything about Zionism, but didn't know that part of it. What is fueling this is really America. And the question was, is America leading, or is Israel leading America, or is America leading Israel? Is it,
it's the same thing.
is the
same thing?
Is it right? It's the same thing. And our EU insider said that the Israeli, the greater Israeli project is the same as the golden age of Trump that he's creating, the new American empire. So it's all the same. And to that fact too, he even said Trump is Mossad, and he would know he was deeply embedded in these things. But Neil, did you want to add to that? I know you were twiddling your fingers there.
Yeah, I was, and there's a bit of a delay. I think it's probably from my end, but I'm going to go back to something that you and I have talked about, Dean, before, and that's that I heartily believe that there are two Trumps at play here, in a very spiritual and possibly a literal sense. And I think that both Trumps think that what they're doing is right, but they're looking at things very, very differently. I do think that there's a patriotic Trump, and I think that there's a Trump that he wants to do what's right for the country. He wants to put America first. And then I think there's that Trump that is basically controlled by, Satan, Yahoo, and these other culprits that are running the show. And so it's sort of like a matter of who's going to win this battle, and that goes back to the dream I've talked about here before just a little bit. But that's that there's two different paths here that could be gone down. And to kind of play the devil's advocate, to throw out a different view, I don't necessarily believe this, but the Q-op, or the Q-Psyop, however you want to look at it, would say that they're saving Israel for last. The only little tiny a bit, but like the 1% of hope that one could hang on to right now that Trump is actually doing something and involved in a very white hat, quote unquote, operation, is that Israel is getting exposed. So I know it appears that, and I believe that Trump is controlled by Israel and Israeli donors. I think we know that. But I also see what's actually happening. And that's that people are literally losing their faith. They're realizing they were not worshiping, as far as Christians are concerned, we weren't worshiping Jesus. We've been worshiping Israel. We haven't been getting baptized in the name of Christ. We've been baptized in the name of, and under an Israeli flag. And so that kind of thing right now is being exposed. Israel's being exposed. I do wonder how much of a part Trump is either knowingly or unknowingly playing in that. And that leads us into the whole Charlie Kirk thing. The Charlie Kirk thing, for all the craziness and the psyop that was going on there, has led us into an uncovering of what Israel actually is. Now, the four of us probably have been down this road for a number of years, but the average person now is where they're going, yeah, why are we funding Israel? Yeah, why is Israel controlling Congress? Yeah, why do we believe that the Israel today is the Israel of the Bible? They're asking these questions, and it's like rampant. I'm seeing it everywhere. Now, of course, you're in French too, and people think you're crazy. But also, on the other hand, you're seeing a ton of people wake up. So is Israel being exposed, and is there some deep plan to expose them? Or is this sort of happening organically as not part of their plan? I think that's the question that I'm waiting to see answered.
Neil, great point. Jim, let's go to you before we go to break. As Neil and his anti-Semitic just remarks there, just out of control he is here. Very highly inappropriate, Jim. I'm sorry that we even gave him the floor on that. That was very disgusting on his part. Go ahead, Jim.
I think Neil's right.
We'll throw him out.
Charlie Kirk event shattered the glass ceiling, inhibiting taboos about talking about Jews and Israel and their domination of our government. It shattered it completely. Charlie, of course, was wandering off the reservation. He was confiding in Candace, Tucker, Clayton, that he didn't believe in genocide. He had doubts about October 7th. He really couldn't stand Netanyahu any longer, who offered him a choice between silver and lead. He offered $150 million more for Turning Point if he'd stay supportive of Israel, or potentially take him out if he didn't. Now, I'm convinced the shooting was actually staged to save Charlie from a real assassination. But the fact is, people believing it see Israel had tremendous motives for it, and they can't shake it. And when you had Netanyahu going on repeatedly on the same day saying, no, we didn't kill Charlie, that just reinforced the impression that was such an extraordinary thing for him to have done. And it has.
Jim, we want to get to that. I want to get to that after the break. I don't want to spoil your thesis for this incredible audience of what you might think happened to Charlie Kirk, but I've never heard such sentiment. But don't you just think Netanyahu was just trying to clear the air and just make it, being transparent? That's how I felt.
Everyone
But
thought Israel had done it, and that's the perception. That's why I said before, the facts don't matter. Perception. Even if all these events we're talking about were staged, the perception is they were real, and that perception is making the difference politically, and it's completely changed the attitudes toward Israel, which has fallen massively in the eyes of the American people. They had never really thought it out before. Charlie Kirk's event made them, forced them, emancipated them to consider that Israel could perform such a dastardly act right here in the USA.
Well, that's true. Okay, we're going to take a break, everybody. We're going to take a quick break here. This is a very lively night here with some very controversial statements, conversations, thoughts, and that's why it's Late Night Thoughts here. So we're going to be back with this incredible group here tonight on Real Deal Media's Late Night Thoughts. You don't want to miss what's coming up next, and make sure whatever you do, get your tunnels to heaven, because I'm sure going to get mine after this.
You like me, you want to get to heaven, but you simply don't want to take your time, let alone wait in line? That's why I here at Tunnels to Heaven, we're going to get you to your final destination before the revelation, tribulation, and the strangulation. All you got to do is start giving, because forgiveness ain't cheap, it ain't free, and you got to give to forgive. So that's why sign up today. You can find it at a variety of locations, and underneath the synagogues, we got one in Brooklyn, we got one in Alabama, and we got one over there in Seattle, Washington. Get your fix before you get your kicks, and don't fall for any of these tricks. Get your Tunnels to Heaven membership today, because God's waiting, but he ain't gonna pick you up. Hold on, what's that?
What are you saying?
Oh, it's my turn to go in that tunnel. I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you in heaven.
Order your Tunnels to Heaven today. 1-800-TUNNELS. 1-800-TUNNELS.
Some people who obtained some of these files and are familiar with the person who's familiar with the files, he goes under different names. Benjamin Netanyahu, as we know, is one of them. That's his first fake name. Benjamin Natia. Then there's John J. Sullivan, the Skippy kid from next door. Then there's John J. Sullivan Jr., just in case you oust him. So can you imagine John J. Sullivan, the wild and crazy guy called John J. Sullivan, was doing nights on the town, probably with Gary Busey over there in Malibu. Upon further examination, they also examined the dual citizenship of Mr. John J. Sullivan. My man, John J. Sullivan. Give him a round of applause, man. What if he played saxophone at a local jazz club? My man, John J. Sullivan. So according to U.S. law, Netanyahu remains a U.S. citizen. I'll be damned. 1982, left his job at a furniture salesman position to be a policy advisor over there at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Finally, Netanyahu has an ally in the cosmetic dynasty, Estee Lauder. he was getting his grubby hands in Estee Lauder cosmetics. He was the guy at Nordstrom's powdering your nose. He's selling you furniture and hammocks. And then when he's not busy doing that, he's putting blush, lipstick on you and grandma at the mall. This is we are learning so much, aren't we? We are learning so much. Unbelievable.
We are back. Yes, we are. And it's late. It's a late night thoughts. What a riveting one this is. I can't even contain it. Literally standing on the shoulders of giants here tonight. Okay, let's get ready. You know, when I hear the sound of water, it makes me want to do things. Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is Dean Ryan, who is recording, and hosting here with you tonight at Studio B, as you can plainly see. It just had to be me. Yes, I'm still your cruise director, cruising with you to midnight and beyond here. We're gonna now change lanes a little bit here tonight and get into the very evolving story of Charlie Kirk, who has been now regarded as, in the wake of his death, as one of the true young American heroes for many now, whether they liked him, tolerated him, or disliked him before. It has been known as the new Daily Plaza event, the JFK event of our time, and the revolving door of the Ericas, as we call her, and her leather liaisons that she seems to wear with J.D. Vance, who's now expecting a fourth kid. Can you believe that? His fourth kid with his very beloved wife, Huma. Or is it Uma? Those are the questions he asks every night. And so now we're going to be talking just about that because, you know, at first when Jim Fetzer, who I'm going to bring to the stage here in a minute, we're going to reintroduce everybody. But his thesis originally stated that the whole thing was kind of a dog and pony show with no entry wounds and no exit wounds, that it was just a cosplay of an event. And I thought it was, I said, there's no way that could be. I saw what I saw. Well, now here we are, fast forward to Minneapolis, and we saw what we saw. And now we're learning that some of these people were taking, you know, summer camps and training in Tel Aviv. Are you kidding me? Is there anything and anyone in this country of power that, is there anyone that hasn't been there to touch the wall and learn how to choke people with their knee? I mean, this is getting insane. But let's now get to it because this is now a whistleblower that you're going to hear about. But before I tell you about the whistleblower, because it's some pretty wild stuff, let's get the guys back here on stage. Okay, we have all the way from Arizona. Corey, welcome back. Okay,
Amen.
There you are. Love it. We have Jim Fetzer. And we have not J.J. Sullivan, but the Neil Bishops of Texas. He's known as the pull shark of the South, isn't he? Okay. I want to get to the whistleblower, but Jim, I know you have I don't know if you have it available, a little presentation, because you called it right away, Jim. You called it, and I have to give you credit because I'm starting to lean your way. You haven't won me over on the Paul McCartney one yet, but this one I think you're winning me over. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I just want to make half a dozen points about what happened here. Let's begin with Candace reporting that there was no blood. Now, if the shooting was real, there would have been blood all over the place. But Candace reported there was no blood. She got ahead of the camera that was behind Charlie, and that's utterly inconsistent with this having been real. Now, most do not know, but actually on ABC the following day, George Stephanopoulos interviewed 3 alleged witnesses, and in talking about the crowd, he showed a video. But what he didn't realize, what the video he was showing wasn't the actual crowd. This is only like a quarter, maybe an eighth of the real crowd there, and the tent is empty. Let's take a look at this here. You're going to be shocked, but
still lots to cover with the whole Charlie Kirk saga, and this one takes the cake.
Here it is. Look at this.
Point this out real quickly.
Well, Jim, we can't see anything. Jim, you have to share your screen there if you can. We certainly can hear it, though.
Hang on, I thought I was sharing.
But yeah, so just to set it up again, we're learning a lot of new things about the blood that was allegedly not there, and Candace has made the case. But I've always thought maybe other weapons can be at hand here. We've seen high-tech weapons in films like Ian Fleming's James Bond from years ago.
You can't see this image, correct?
No, we can't see anything, Jim, but we can hear you. We can feel it. Continue, though. Okay, well, listen, this will only take about 5 minutes or less. But on George Stephanopoulos, the following morning, they had 3 witnesses, each of whom claimed to be 15 feet away. As Catherine Horton observed to me, 15 feet away times 3, 5 and 1 is 6, 666. So I looked for him in a crowd, but it turned out the video they played was a rehearsal video. It was showing these crisis actors, and there are several hundred of them rushing away from an empty tent. And then it turns out the blood on Charlie was actually added by means of CGI. Now, here you'll listen to a discussion about this, really excellent. I'm sorry you can't see it, but here.
Blood that I lost in the car crash is still 10 times more than what we see there.
Blood he had lost in a car crash.
How, for what we saw come out, very little is left. Okay. Do we want to show the AI artifact of him, or?
I believe we could, because there are several anomalies we could point out with this video that I believe are either AI enhanced or completely faked altogether somehow.
All right, and this one is going to be a little gory, so fast forward a minute if you don't want to see it.
If you're sensitive, then skip this.
I think everyone has seen it. We couldn't help but see it because it got reached out. Everyone, so.
Jim, I want to stop it there, Jim, if we can. We could. I think because we kind of get the gist of it. Because
Dean, the gist of it is the wound on Charlie's neck moves around. The blood starts to pour down, but it's not absorbed by his shirt. It even reverses flow. In other words, it's added by CGI. And then we had Erica at the coffin, and she's fawning over this hand, but it isn't even Charlie's hand. It's a dummy. It's waxed.
Wearing dish gloves.
And there's been an expert did a whole hour on this. He measured the length in millimeters of his index finger on his right hand, compared it with the casket video, and the casket video hand is too big to be Charlie's. And here's a summary. You want to think about this. What's the probability of the evidence if it were a real shooting and the probability of evidence if it were fake? Given no blood from behind, from in front, or elsewhere, except in footage that has apparently been created using CGI, a rehearsal for crisis actors has even been broadcast. The venue for the memorial service was rented in May. The body in the casket was a mannequin, not Charlie. Erica Kirk was faking her grief over a rubber hand, and everyone on the job that day was newly in their position. Ask yourself, what's the probability this was real rather than fake? I'm telling you, the evidence is all there. I did with Christopher Key. I did an expanded version. I was just pulling out key points of the evidence here. But you can find online the Charlie Kirk assassination hoax exposed with Christopher Key. And you can see all the evidence I'm talking about here and much more. Because a colleague of mine by the name of Vivian Lee cracked the case, and how Charlie scratching his nose was the initiation of a whole lot of signs, how they had a squib. I think it was mostly air beneath his shirt. It was all fake. This whole thing was staged. I guarantee 100% Charlie Kirk was not killed at Utah Valley.
Well, that's a very compelling point. Neil, I have to go to you because, I mean, I can't get past the coffin scene, which was the most cringiest funeral. As I've stated before, it looked like a Kiss concert in Arizona. Right, Corey? Corey, what stadium was that where they had it? I can't forget, but you know what I'm saying? And it looked like he was wearing dish gloves. So they got a mannequin and put yellow dish gloves on him, like he was just, in the back, bussing tables.
They did the memorial over at the Gateway Coliseum, the newest big one over in Glendale.
There you go. The Gateway Coliseum. And it was so egregious. It was demonic. And they were like happy and laughing and having a great time. I can't imagine buying tickets to that. I would never buy tickets to that. I mean, Neil, what are we to make of this at this point? Because not that, just a year prior, Trump nearly, got killed and dodged a bullet that just grazed his ear by the grace of the bullet gods there, Neil Bishop.
You're muted, Neil.
Neil, we can't hear you, sir.
I do, now. I think what Neil's trying to say is that we all have a little Charlie Kirk inside of us, if I read his lips correctly. Well, while Neil does that, we're going to remove Neil from the stage because that's strike two. He'll come back. What happens. The pressure's on. Corey, I go to you since you're filling in for Neil here tonight.
I'm going to share my screen here.
Share your screen, and then I want to share a new whistleblower. Oh, Jim, I had your screen here the whole time. I could have been sharing it. What a difference that makes. Go ahead. But this is now coming to light that 40 people, Neil Bishop, if you can hear me, 40 people have been let go from TPUSA that Erica didn't like. And
40. Exactly 40?
Not 20.
There's a
not 20, number. Not 30.
What's the number 40 in the Bible?
It's 4 versions of 10. It's X10.
It's the test. It's the
test. Neil, I covered you. You're okay now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was just testing you. You're ready to go. Go ahead. Share your thoughts.
Oh,
we're all waiting.
Goodness. Well, I have to full confession because I've been sitting here during the break after Corey mentioned his goat farm. I've been developing plans to start my own goat farm here in Texas.
Yes.
I'm a little bit envious, to be honest. So I'm gonna
give me a call, Neil.
Corey to figure out what he's doing there. We used to. Yeah, I actually will. We used to have goats back in Colorado. We haven't done it yet in Texas, but I need some goats. And so, we know that the Trump, and let me tell you why the Trump shooting was real. We know where he got his ear nicked by the bullet. It's because we saw it on the television. Okay. So if we saw it on the television, we know it was real. And this goes back to a point that was made earlier. Why do we think what we see on the TV is true anymore? And that's what we're trying to help wake up the average person to. Right now, we're preaching to the choir, but we have to stop believing in this stuff. It's like a cult. Speaking of cults, right? It's like we have this cult that it's called the TV, and if we see it, we believe it. Just like the pretty thing and the good thing and all these shootings and all these, the stuff that's going on with Israel and all that. So yeah, pretty good psyop. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things on the Charlie Kirk stuff. There are so many things that you can't even keep track of it anymore. And not to mention, we haven't even talked about the Snake Eyes and all that stuff, how they based this whole Charlie Kirk production on a movie from 1999, and we could all go there.
No.
But now we're at the point where Erica Kirk,
I got that chambered if you want to go through that.
Oh man, it's so good. We did it. I think it was Dean and I, we kind of did a whole segment on that. It's just crazy. But now, and I knew this from the very beginning. So I'll tell you guys from day one. I saw Erica's speech at the memorial where she came out in a blaze of glory with all the lights and the fireworks and all that. And I said, this woman's something's wrong. I didn't know what, but those of us that could see were like, something's wrong. And I knew when Candace started talking about it, Candace originally said, I'll stop if Erica tells me to stop. And I laughed when she said that because I said, it's coming. Erica's going to tell you to stop. And you're going to laugh in her face. And now we have this war, and I love it. I think it's hilarious to see between, this Candace Erica war, and Candace is winning because the people are winning. Again, it's a lot like, what happened with Charlie Kirk and what's going on with Erica right now is a lot like what's going on with Israel. People's common sense is awakening. And this goes back real quick, Dean, to something we talked about in the last episode that I was on here with. And that's that, I'm right here in the heart of the storm in East Texas that came through. Right before that storm, they're spraying the sun. They always start in the morning. They spray the sun as it's a young sun. It's coming up, and then they spray it all afternoon. And as it's setting, they're spraying in front of the sun. They're trying to block downloads to humanity so people won't wake up to the nonsense that's going on. But thank God it's not working. People are waking up to it. And that's why some crazy red buttons have to be pushed in 2026. And I mean crazy. That's why they want a civil war. It's why they want war in Iran. It's why they're doing what they're doing in Venezuela. It's because people are waking up to this information. And for some reason, Erica Kirk is like helping humanity wake up in this, what she's thinking is a psyop is actually a counter psyop on her and all the people trying to do these psyops.
Very interesting. Corey, I want to go to you, but this is the whistleblower just coming out now. Jim, you're going to love this. I saw this and I thought of you, and I almost called you, but it was 3 a.m. Check this out.
The other very delicate thing we have going on is all this stuff with Israel. Now, Thaler is Jewish. Breger is Jewish. Like, when I say Jewish, I mean, like, not they're very Jewish, meaning very Bev Goldstein. Like, there's so many names I can throw out that I do believe when we look at Turning Point and we look at all of this, I do see Mossad. I see there again. There's so many other things where I'm connecting dots. I think Alex Jones is controlled by them. Charlie Kirk's controlled by them. Steve Bannon. I can't believe nobody's killed me. I really can't. I have no idea why.
Because God is protecting right now. There's a lot of people that are surprised are not dead right now, but nobody gets to do anything unless God gives it permission.
And I'm with you, Liz. I mean, I've already had people show up to my door from what I've exposed, but I'm still alive. We're meant to be alive. So.
Well, let's talk about that. What are we to make of that? That is, there's a lot of certain people there in some familiar names. Alex Jones, who has had a long history of whisper campaigns that he is, playing for the wrong side. And I'm going to go to you, Corey, because look, Issac Kappy, I spent time with Issac. You've been covering his case for a long time. Believe it or not, in 2018, I was at an event with Issac Kappy, did an interview, which I'll bring you back sometime. We'll have a longer convo about Issac, but I was literally in the green room with, get this, Jim, with Issac Kappy on my right and Charlie Kirk on my left. And I said, how did I get here? And how come these two guys are gone? I'm the one who survived. But Isaac said to me, dead in right in my face, he said, I don't think Alex is playing on the same team as we are. Now that could be taken two ways, but I think he meant on the side of history, Corey. But what are you to make of that? Because there's some big names that were thrown into the mix there.
All right. Let's see here. Can you see my shared screen there? You want to put that up?
Yes, I can. Here it is right here.
I lost everyone over here. I can't see anything on my side.
There you go.
All right. Can you see it there? I can't see anything.
Yeah, we see the screen. Okay. Wonderful slides there. Go ahead.
It says when, the top there?
Yep.
Okay. So give me about 5 minutes here. Stop me if
you got it.
Have a question, but I can go for hours. First of all, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed September 10th, 2025. One day prior to the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Okay. 24 is the number you find in the four gospels. Christ in the gospels, 33 miracles, 24 of which were cures. 24 elders sat on 24 thrones. This goes back to Zionism big time. Okay. So we got that, just a numerological pin right there. 28 months from September 11th attacks to September 11, 2025. 288 is the number of the concept of the 288 holy sparks in Judaism. Okay, the shattering of the vessel. When the vessel broke, according to the Jews, it's well, let me just read it here. The event is central to the Kabbalistic understanding of creation and the purpose of exile of the Jewish people. So again, exiled Jewish people, they're the victims. Israel, Jews, the whole Judeo-Christian thing, boom, 288 months. Put a pin in that number right there, okay? Keep on going down here. 33 days from September 11th to Charlie Kirk's birthday, right? September 11th, 2025 to when he was dead, shot right there, 33 days, right? September 10th, if you convert to Jewish calendar, it's Elul 17, 5785. And you'll find this when you start deocculting these psyops that have everything to do with Israel here. And for the chat out there and the chat world, pay attention. It's going to get good here. All right. When converted to the Gregorian calendar, the Hebrew calendar, September 10th lands on Elul 17. Okay. The outbreak of World War II and the Holocaust, which was what the Jews considered the beginning of the Holocaust, is the outbreak of World War II. That's officially when they consider it, when Israel considers it, is Elul 17, 5699. Not the same year, but the same day. Nazi Germany invaded Poland. By the way, where's Bibi Netanyahu's grandfather from? He's Polish. All right. Bibi is Polish stock. All right. If anyone didn't know that out there. And I think the rest of the prime ministers of Israel have all been Ukrainian, if I'm not mistaken. So the invasion marked the start of the widespread Jewish persecution, the ghetto extermination, blah, 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 the Holocaust aftermath. Okay. The Great Flood and the renewal. 17 Elul marks the 301st day of the Great Flood, where in this day Noah released the dove, right? You got that in there. Charlie Kirk was assassinated on Elul 17, the corresponding Hebrew date when converted to the Hebrew calendar. Get into lunar craft here, and there's lunar magic for the uninitiated here as well. It was a lunar perigee. Say again.
Well, we were just talking about the moon last night, Corey. Just by chance, I think Neil and I were on the last show, and we came to the conclusion we believe it's a projector at this point and a flashlight.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it was a lunar perigee, the point of the moon's elliptical orbit around the Earth, where it's the closest to the planet. It's the opposite of the aphelion, which is the opposite, which is July 4th, which is why July 4th is Independence Day, because it's the day of the year the Earth is farthest away from the sun, or the influence of the gravitational pull. So when the founding fathers sent that document over to the Limeys, right, it was like, not only are we free, we are incorporating the physics of the Earth and the sun. We are most free from the sun. We are most free from you. That is incorporated into our founding documents. Not a lot of people understand that. The last such alignment was on September 28, 2015, when the lunar perigee of the supermoon coincided with the final blood moon of the Tetrad during the Sukkot Feast of the Tabernacles, right? Get more Jewish stuff here. The day of the night of September 10th, 2025 marks a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon at perigee. It was the fourth of the Tetrad. That's a series of 4 total lunar eclipses. A pattern NASA notes occurs periodically, but rarely aligns with Jewish holidays. So whereas this does align periodically, it doesn't align with Jewish holidays because it's not on the Gregorian calendar. It's on the Jewish calendar, which it overlaps and floats, we call it, okay? So when you're talking dates and magic, ritualistic magic, what magic is, for those you don't know, it's syncing up the physics of the earth and the sun and the natural energies, and you put your conscious behind it and you send it out with will. That's what magic is. Christians do it when they pray. Muslims do it when they pray. Witches do it in covens. Only when you get a bunch of people together practicing, you don't have one solitary practitioner. You have a bunch. You have a bunch, you get a resonance, right? You get a resonance, you get an oscillation. We're talking physics. We're talking vibration with consciousness and intent. That's what witchcraft is. That's what magic is. Now you have your basic farmcraft magic where your kitchen witches, your healers. Back in the day, that's where all the superstition stuff comes from. But you have your real magic. That's Texas Instruments. That's NASA. That's MIT. That's bending space and time and light with new technology. Okay, that's what our leaders do. It is nothing less than magic. This year's Sukkot began on the 15th. The holiday symbolizes the Israel's wilderness journey and God's provision. The moon was just full on September 7th, coinciding with the blood moon, and marks the Tetrad. So you have a lot of lunar stuff in there as well. September 28th, 2015 to September 10th is 9 years and 11 months. That's when that moon was. 9/11. Again, 9/11. Who did 9/11? Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the U.S., or more importantly, the deep state intelligence agencies that run this megalithic intelligence international deep state, which fights against what's now the BRICS, China, Russia, that whole hegemony over there. That's what we're looking at.
So it wasn't 19 hijackers from Afghanistan.
Negative, sir. Negative.
What?
Right.
Well, you learn something new every day, Neil. I tell you, this is all. This is incredible stuff.
When you get into the numerology and into the minutia of the ritual, and that's what I do. I break down the ritual craft of these events. That's what my website's devoted to. I get in there and I find the similitudes, the biblical and Jewish similitudes, because most of the psyops in this country are Christian based. And just to show you what I mean here, and I mean, no offense to Christians out there, but they're using Christian energies, or what the Christ, the anointed, meant coming down. Here you got Bibi Netanyahu's all of his Shabbat Lubavitch masters, if you will, or gurus here. You can go through that and read what you guys want. Orm, Utah means famous spear or serpent or dragon, right?
What about Israel? What about the origins of the name Israel? You know, Rael and Ra.
Yeah, I didn't get all that in this article. I mean, you know, if you like. In
general, I just there's so much magic, as you're saying.
Right here,
hood to it all.
Here's the other one. You got the Pentagon, right? 5 sides, 5 stories, 5 layers deep. Here's where Charlie was shot. 5 sides, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 layers deep, right? And on top of that, it is a menorah.
I never thought about that.
It's a menorah.
I thought it was a starfish the whole time. That's just amazing.
Now, all right, for you Christians, this is for you out there, okay? Here's the menorah. There's 2 kinds of menorahs out there. One is the 7-branched, the temple menorah, and one is the 9-branched, okay? And the 9-branched is the Hanukkah menorah. I'm sorry, the 9-branched, the Hanukkah. We're going to flash back real quick, then I'll circle back around. When the Twin Towers went down, again, 9/11. This all ties back to 9/11. Charlie Kirk, 9/11, and Issac Kappy, if you want to get into that, which initials are 9/11. The Tribute of Light Memorial that happened after the towers went down were 2 banks of lights. Each light has 44 light bulbs or lamps in it, okay? And the reason why This is what it is. 9/10/25, September 10th, 2025 is when Charlie was killed. 44. Again, another tie-in on the backside, or a hermetic seal, numerological hermetic seal on the back of that again, right there.
Hermetically sealed. Yeah.
Hermetically sealed. Christian occult meaning of 44. 44 generations from Abraham to Jesus. Matthew 1:1-17. By the way, which is an amazing verse. I don't think that if you get into the septetic conspiracy that was figured out back in the 1800s, 17 or 1800s, I believe, by a Russian, he found that Matthew 1:1-17 could not have been written because all the grammatical laws, everything comes out to a divisor of 7 in that. And for people to have done that is impossible. But anyway, that aside, Jesus' ministry lasted for 44 months from his baptism, October 26 AD, to his crucifixion, April 30th. Post-crucifixion, 44 days to the ascension, right? So his earthly ministry is cited as 44 days long. Key scripture verses, John 6:44 and John 4:50. You got all that going there. Bless you, baby. Let me get the resonance. Go ahead.
And let me add too, Neil, please share with the class Charlie's birthday, the same as somebody else's birthday.
This gets crazy. I'm loving this, by the way. I'm loving this. Like, you're speaking my language.
Tell us.
It's so cool, and I'm learning a lot of new stuff here too as I'm just studying what he's talking about here. But yeah, one George Floyd. Anybody remember George Floyd? That guy?
Fentanyl Floyd.
Oh, well, we know that he died because he was suffocated by a police officer because it happened on the television. So why wouldn't we believe that? And I'll bet you you've gone through some of the numerology and things like that around what happened with George Floyd. Because again, it's like, you can't make this stuff up. Sort of like what you mentioned with Matthew chapter 1. It's almost otherworldly what's happening here. And it reminds me of the quote that millionaires don't follow astrology, but billionaires do. In other words, the billionaires are the ones that know this knowledge. It's the old world knowledge, the hidden knowledge. They're the ones, the controllers, if you will, are the ones that are setting this up with the help of otherworldly beings, I might say. So yeah, it's incredible when you do the comparison of George Floyd and Charlie Clerk. Again, you had the left and the right, two wings of the same bird. You got the left wing, this revolutionary thing starting. You got the right wing revolutionary thing starting. It's the same.
They share the same birthdays. They share the same birthdays.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I could go on forever. Give me 3 more minutes here, and I'll get to some juicy stuff.
Oh yeah. Let's conclude on that, if you will. Corey, please take us there.
All right. So this is interesting. I found this years ago. The 9/11 attacks happened 254 days into the year. September 11th is the 254th day of the year. The Las Vegas shooting happened 254 days into Trump's inauguration. Okay. Trump is 79 years old and Charlie at 31. 79 plus 31 is 110. Each of the Twin Towers had 110 floors. Right. So you just see all these patterns that just show up over and over and over again, whether it's the Matrix, whether it's planned. I don't know. I see pattern recognition. That's my gift. Okay. This is very interesting.
It's not a coincidence. You don't think it's just a coincidence, Corey? Do coincidences still exist? Is there a lobby firm for that? I mean,
if you go to my website and you go through, and I've done this for the Charlie Kirk shooting, the Uvalde shooting, 9/11, the Vegas shooting. Right. Oh my God. Vegas shooting, and the numerology. Oh my God. If you go to my website and check that out, that is off the chain, which goes back to Israel, goes back to Saudi Arabia as well, right? This right here, the Oslo Accords were signed 1933, September 13th. Charlie Kirk was born October 14th, the same year, 31 days. So he died at 31 years old, and he was born 31 days between the signing of the Oslo Accords. So he's 31 days after that. That's interesting. The Prime Minister, Rabin, the foreign minister, Shimon Peres, shared the Nobel Prize that year, right, with and President Yasser Arafat, right, because they signed the Oslo Accords. And what happened? He was shot. He was shot November 4th, 1995, by right-wing extremist Amir, Yigal Amir for signing, right? Everyone said blame Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu killed Rabin. Everyone knows that. Everyone in the world knows that. Intelligence knows that. The people of Israel know that, right? It was later discovered the factions within Israel were making sure to send the message that there will be no peace with Palestine. Why? They want that land. That land is ancient land. The Templars went down and began building in Palestine in the 1500s. You need to understand Proto-Zionism, understand what is going on here. Okay. Our Secretary of War has the Crusader sword on his right arm, the right hand of God. Wow. Trump literally has the Secretary of War, not peace, the Secretary of War with a crusading Christian sword on his right hand. You are looking at a modern day crusade. That is what is happening here. Let that sink in for a second.
Wow.
This is a modern day crusade. We read books about the Crusades way back in the day. If a crusade took place today, this is it. You are witnessing a modern day Christian crusade to take back the Holy Lands. Getting back to Amir here for a second, right? He was shot in the back.
Go ahead.
3 times. He was shot in the back. I tend to subscribe, no offense to anyone on the panel or anyone listening, but I subscribe to, I believe Charlie was shot in the back by the one guy and his 2 backup fellas that were on left and right side of them both. He had the camera with the shoulder mount camera back there. I think that was a low velocity, larger calibered rifle that shot through the back of his neck and came out the front. And that's why they dug up everything in the front, because they had to find that piece the next day.
But Corey, they said the spine, he had a magical spine that blocked the bullet.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have not read the coroner's report. I mean, right? Everybody knows that one.
Yeah. 33 days between September 11th and Trump's birthday. Trump's second inauguration, January 20th, September 11th, is the 33rd week of the year. It took authorities 33 hours to catch Tyler Robbins. Let me get to Issac Kappy here, because this is where I really wanted to go through. And I'm just going to give this one thing, and then I'll give the floor over to everyone else here and sit back for a while. Isaac outed Seth Green on July 22nd, or 7/22 at 1:33 p.m. in the afternoon at the San Diego Comic-Con convention. Okay, Isaac died on May 13th at 7:22 in the morning. So May 13th is the 133rd day of the year. Again, he came out on 7/22, and he said what he said about Seth Green at 1:33. He died on the 133rd day of the year, and at 7:22 in the morning. The time and date of Issac Kappy coming out and speaking about Seth Green, who's a Jew, okay, about pedophilia in Hollywood. Hollywood is the entertainment division of the U.S. intelligence agencies. That's where the propaganda comes from. Hollywood, the wood of the holly, the wand that witches would use to weave magic and sorcery was from the holly tree, right? Hollywood, they're weaving the magic. That's what it is. That's why Disney has the wand. That's the Hollywood wand, right? He died on the exact reversal of the time and the date of him coming out and spilling the beans. Charlie Kirk first outed Israel on 10/12/2023 at 2 specific times on Patrick Bet-David show, on the Valuetainment show. At the 2-minute and 53rd second mark in the show, and you guys can go check this out and for yourself and go, damn, that's crazy, right? So at 2:53 in the show, and at 9 hours and 28 minutes into the day, or at the 28-minute mark into the show. Okay, so those 2 times he spoke about Israel on that show, 2:53 and at 28. Okay, and he in the show, or 9:10, 28. Okay, 9, 2 plus 8 is 10. 9:10. If you knew your number, the 28, 8 plus 2 is 10. So at 9:10, that's the date Charlie died. Right? And right there, Charlie died on the 253rd day of the year, which is September 10th.
Wow.
So again, the reversal. Oh, Charlie died at 12:23 in the afternoon, which is the reversal of the date. There you go. So
okay, well, that's some heavy stuff there.
This is ritual murder. This is higher magic ritual murder.
Ritualistic murder.
Taking time and dates into account for people's blasphemy or people's sins against whatever, against
Right.
Israel, they're swapping the time and the date for the death. That is the signature.
Neil, Jim, if you want to add or want to inquire something about that, we also have a lot of people who are commenting on all three platforms right now. And a lot of people are saying they're going to watch this again for sure. So why don't I scroll through that? But Neil or Jim Jim, please, if you want to add to that and maybe give your conclusion of, is Charlie Kirk, was he in on the fix? Did he not know? A lot of people are saying that he was waking up to the Truman Show he was a part of. And someone told me by 30 years old, MK Ultra does wear off on people who have been MK Ultra as a child onward.
Dean,
so feel free to do
I lost
that.
my
Go
screen.
ahead.
I'm gonna duck out and come back in. So let me back in when I come out. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and do that, and we'll hold your seat there. We have some people on Rumble. Here's Rumble, Rumblemania 1 over there on Rumble right now live, saying Charlie's death corresponded to the question that was asked of him. What was that question, Jim? I can't remember that question right off the top of my head here. We'll bring Corey in. And you are watching Late Night Thoughts here. And a very thoughtful late night it is. I mean, how do you sleep after this one? Is a good question. Go ahead. Neil, did you want to add something? I saw your lips were moving, but I can't hear what you're saying. Go ahead.
Oh, so many things. I mean, whatever or whoever, whatever Charlie Kirk ended up, like whatever has happened to him, the main thing is, I think right now is what people believe, and this goes back to what Corey was talking about. Like, if enough people believe in something, it sort of manifests it, sort of makes it real. And the reality is that to the best of people's knowledge, the masses' knowledge, is that Charlie Kirk was taken out. Now, the interesting thing is, and people this hasn't been circulating much. There's a speech not too long before Charlie died. One of the speeches Charlie gave was, he was on to the idea that, I mean, we're talking about the biggest conservative movement in the world, the biggest sort of right-wing conservative movement in the world that's got all the youth, it's got all this momentum. And the leader of that movement was saying, listen, people, this is not a left or right paradigm. This is not a civil war between the left and right. This is a revolution, and it's between the common man and the world rulers. Charlie Kirk was saying those things. I like the idea that Jim mentioned, that Charlie Kirk actually, that is his death was faked. Now, I kind of like the idea that he faked his death just to get away from Erica. I mean, to be honest, that's just me. But if it were faked, or if it were
Neil, too soon, Neil.
I knew too soon. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Yeah, but
That's
here's
great.
the thing, though.
Corey, I apologize
Whether or
again.
not it was-
The anti-Semitic is out of control.
Anti-Semitism, anti-Ericaism. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
You're on a roll tonight. Yes.
The big. Oh, I know it's big. The big picture here is people are waking up to Israel, to the revolution, which has to happen if humanity is going to carry on, and to a point of where we're actually free beings, milking our goats, having our goat farms, having our chickens and things like that. Then that's what's going to have to happen is a revolution. Charlie Kirk was talking about that publicly, and I don't think that the ones that have a control on all of us sheeple and all of the peasants here liked that very much. So my conclusion, I think I find it intriguing that Charlie faked his death and that he's sort of in on this with people that are trying to help humanity. But my reason, my logical brain, my non-emotional part says, no, I think he was taken out. Probably, my guess is it was probably before that event on September.
It was a stand-in. That's interesting.
That
interesting.
Well, I think it's pretty clear if you look at the footage that we're looking at a hologram projector from behind, and at some point it was switched out. They had probably a stand-in for Charlie there that day, and I've looked at pictures very intensely and quite a bit that seem to show a different Charlie there that day. Different lip, different teeth, kind of standing in. And then, there was also the little, the manhole under the desk where Charlie was shot. I mean, there's so much there, but I would hope, I guess I would say this. I hope Jim's right. I hope Charlie sort of faked his death, that he's actually in the physical place called Valhalla that our controlled wandering eye FBI.
That's a good question.
Director said he was, but I hope so.
Jim, here's some questions for you. We have Jules, one of our longest time viewers of all time, saying Valhalla maybe in New Zealand. Definitely maybe. We also have too Bill Carson. Great point. She's giving birth to a manager. Well, a manger. I thought she was pregnant. I read that wrong. Okay, so is she not pregnant anymore? I guess she's not. But Jim, you want to comment on that? Valhalla, New Zealand, pregnant, manager, manger.
Valhalla is also a term used in these agencies for witness protection program. But I guarantee you, Charlie didn't die. There wasn't any blood. They CGI'd. The wound moves around on his neck. The colors, the letters on his shirt change. It's because they did a poor job of CGI. They were rushed. But I guarantee 100% Charlie did not die on that occasion. But as I've been emphasizing, as Kissinger said, facts don't matter. Only perceptions. Yep. And most people believe Charlie was killed, and it's had enormously beneficial effects by opening up a whole bunch of previously taboo questions about Israel. So I have many times said, even though he wasn't actually killed, I'm glad most people believe it, because they become much more curious and critical of Israel. And that is a form of emancipation America has to go through, and it's happening even as we speak.
Well, that's very good point. I guess, am I the only one who's critical of the lone gunman on top of the roof, the fiddler on the roof that did it with the...
oh, come on. It was so ridiculous. His shadow disappears when he tried to cross the roof. If he had Jim, part of the weapon in his pants, he would have punctured his intestines when he jumped down. There's so many horseshit aspects to this story. It's a joke. It's a comedy routine. Might as well have been done by the Marx Brothers.
I mean, well, but I just thought they did such a very good job investigating that, they got his manifesto, they found the engraving in time. I mean, this is the change. Okay, so here's some people who are saying things here. Let me go to Rumble here, and then we'll get everyone's final thought if you have one. There's so many. We have Mr. Watland over there on Rumble that's saying Odin was a Catholic. Odin was a Catholic. I'm not sure. I'm familiar with that one, who Odin is, but we'll come back to that one. Okay, we have the Davinator over there from Canada who's on Rumble saying the Kirkland that took a hot 306, they say, appeared to have a different teeth. I got to look into this. That's a very good point. But here's another good one. This is now coming out too, that just hours after the death, within hours after the death of Charlie Kirk, on the way to the hospital, Erica Kirk waited at the airport for 2 hours before even going to see the slain husband, and waited for the manager to come, the number 2 at TPUSA. And then they embraced each other. Are we now kind of at a consensus that Erica, or one of the Ericas, was in on the fix? Is that kind of, are we reaching that point? Anybody?
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Erica's a total fraud. There's so many proofs. It's ridiculous.
She's U.S. intelligence. She was groomed. We don't elect people for higher offices, country. They are groomed. They are managed. They are taught. They are indoctrinated. They are elevated, and they are told that they are our leaders. Be it Obama, who was raised with money given by Father Bush down there in the CIA, down in Indonesia, when we were out there bombing the hell out of them during that unknown genocide, to the Kennedys, to the Clintons, to we manufacture these. The deep state manufactures and pulls them up. Again, that's why Kari Lake was not permitted to win. That's why they stole the election in Arizona, because she is not on the inside. She was not a known, quantified, team player.
That's a good point. From my perspective, it was almost that he was being groomed to be president at some point in time, and carry on the Israeli mantle and tradition and carry the baton. Okay, well, here is some more people. We have Jules saying the following over there on YouTube. Erica is Shady F. Okay, thank you very much. That came across right away when she wore those leather pants. Remember that, Jim? We did a whole show on that. Neil, I know you did too, but that was a private show. Okay, here we have another one here on Rumble. And ask, this one's from Rebel Mama over there in Ontario, Canada. Ontario, Canada, or our 51st state, depending who you ask. Right. Okay. What is this whole 6'7" craze? Jim, Neil, you have kids. You have a lot of kids, actually. Are they talking about 6'7"? What is this whole thing? It's kind of weird to me. Does anyone know?
It's a demon.
Okay. Because Neil and Corey, it has been 67.
Can you hear me?
It's the Jews. Okay, it's yes, we hear you. You're just about 10 seconds behind and $1 short. But it's been 67 degrees where I am for about 3 weeks straight, and I'm telling you, it is a little nervous. Okay, and one final question here. Is Candace in on it? Is Candace in on the fix, or is she a genuine? Because a lot of people raise questions about her husband. She's in a huge beef battle with Mr. Painted Eyebrow Shapiro, and he's clearly Mossad, the short division. That is she in on the fix? Does anyone think?
The only problem with Candace, whom I adore, I think she's wonderful. She's the #1 podcaster in the world today. I think she's doing a whole lot of good. I think she's wanted to cover for Charlie having faked her death. I honestly do think, and that she's got a conflict there between telling the truth and protecting Charlie, because if those who want to take him out realize they haven't finished the job, they may want to complete it. And I think that's the sole fault I find in Candace. I think she's had trouble reconciling those conflicting motives.
And can I tell you too, Jim, on that fact, that's how I feel about Issac Kappy. And, I've been talking to Corey about it, and I'm not even sure I want to present or showcase what I feel or know about it because of that, what Jim raised right there and then. So that's a very good point. Okay, so on that note, Neil, do you want to add to? Oh yeah, go ahead, Neil.
Can I add something real quick? My theory is that I've been watching Candace for many years. I think that she was authentically surprised and shocked by the Charlie's death, quote unquote, whatever happened there. I do think that she has been briefed on some level, just based on her kind of her portrayal of everything, the way that she is. She's just too giddy, upbeat about this whole thing, that I think at some point during this, she was briefed that something else happened. But I do think she's playing a part. However, I'm okay with her playing a part in this, even if she knows more than what she's putting on.
Very good point. And finally, just real quick, how do we feel? How do we think this is going to end for the Trump presidency? We've been circling around now, one round robin, because the common theme throughout what we've been talking about tonight, the common person and character involved has been Donald Trump. Is he in on the Charlie Kirkland ordeal and the atrocities with ICE? He's in on the whole fix.
All of it.
Is he going to make it all 4 years? I guess there's a better question. Is Donald Trump going to make it all 4 years, and can he turn it all around?
No, I didn't
address it, but I think that the Butler thing was another stage shooting, that the whole thing with the ear was phony. It's got a biblical aspect to it, that the Meshiach has to have had his ear pierced. I think it was all totally contrived. and that Trump advised Charlie to stage his shooting just as he had himself staged Butler. That's my take.
Okay. And Neil, do you think Trump's going to turn this around? Is he going to even make it all 4 years? Is J.D. Vance polishing his shoes to take his place?
I've thought for a number of years now that there's a there's a prophetic book out there. You guys, I'm sure, have heard of it, but it's 1900 or The Last President, written by Ingersoll something, Lockwood or something like that.
Lockwood.
Oh, yes.
That was written in the late
yes.
1800s, and Lockwood, yeah. And I tend to think that we've seen that we're coming to the end of an era. I think especially with the 250th anniversary, I think this is very spiritual. I think the sky clock is involved, and I think it has to end. So I have a tendency to think that Trump is the last president that we're going to see here. I don't think he makes it, through his current term. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't have any predictions, but I don't think he makes it. And I think there's some sort of a revolution that happens, and it's going to be very spiritual, very big.
Very grim, yet touching. Corey, I think you shared some sentiment, unless you want to add to that.
I want to add,
Jim, too.
Go ahead,
okay,
Jim.
Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
A footnote. When we saw those two images of the different Trumps, their teeth, their lower front teeth were completely different. We're talking about two different people there. I knew Trump had a body double. He's got silver hair, where Trump's, of course, is horns man, and all that. But this was a different version. This means there are at least three, because there's the guy, and then there's the silver head, and then there's this new guy with a very different teeth. Teeth are a real tell. That's one of the ways we know that Paul and Paul are not the same person. Not only is the current version of Paul McCarthy 4 inches taller than was Paul, but he has good teeth and a normal palate, whereas Paul had 4 inches shorter, had bad teeth and a narrow palate. Italian forensic scientists nailed this a long time ago.
Yes, they did, and that's a yes. Oh, okay, we're just about out of time. But Corey, did you want to add something and tell us where and tell us where we can find you too, your website, if you would, in your final thought there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you can find me over at thephoenixenigma.com. It's all free. I put all my stuff out there for free, and join me over on Rumble. I think we're on, where are we at, honey? Rumble, X, a few others. But, and Rockfin. Hold on. We'll get there in a second. Here's my thought. I tend to take a broader view of all of this. Humans wandered the earth on foot. Then we had horses. Then we had the, agricultural phase of our species. And then we got into the Industrial Revolution. Then we got into computers. Now we're into the AI. And I believe firmly, if you've been watching the congressional hearings on anti-gravitic zero-point energy and technology, Trump keeps alluding to it over and over about med beds. A couple months ago, he talks about the, we have weapons. No one knows. We have weapons, blah, blah, blah. You hear the rumors what happened down there in Venezuela.
Yep.
We are transitioning. We have technology, and we have technology that cannot get out to everybody. And whoever controls this technology, whatever group, whether that's the Western hegemony, the European Templar-based civilizations of European stock, the Five Eyes countries. That's why Australia, New Zealand, Canada, U.S., and Europe have always been together through thick and thin, right? No matter what. That is our strong suit. And we're going up against Russia, China, Iran, Brazil, and the BRICS. And we just took over Venezuela. Why? Because we're cutting off the oil into Cuba, and we're cutting off the oil, and we're going to be supplying that oil, I would imagine, over to Israel to build this huge golf course resort thing that they've been wanting to do for years. They had the plans in 2 years. We saw Jared Kushner on TV last week, and whoever the other cat was, he let the cat out of the bag. They had the plans for this thing before October 7th even happened. What you're looking at, in my opinion, is this next phase, just like Neil was alluding to. We're morphing. Our species is changing, hopefully for the better. But e pluribus unum, from many one. You have to tear down the old systems to put and erect a new one. And I think Trump was chosen for this. I think Trump is executing this. And, you know, if you want my opinion on Trump getting all the other stuff, I believe he is compromised. I believe he was compromised back in the early 90s. He fell into an FBI trap with Epstein. That's when they got him. That's how he got tangled up in all this stuff. And he's been a deep state ever since. He, you know, through thick and thin for more or less. And, you know,
wow.
That's kind of my thoughts on all of this.
That's
let me add one more
thought.
thing. I got one more tiny thing here. I think Charlie was going to run for president within a few years, and I think he would have. He was running 30 some odd million young Americans, conservatives. He would have won presidency. He would have beat Jared Kushner or the other Trump out. So if Trump wasn't on this with Israel, because obviously Israel was somehow involved in this, running TPUSA, it's an Israeli propaganda event from the beginning. Taking out Trump's children's competition would assure that the lineage of Trump stayed within the power structure.
Interesting. Well, that's wonderful late night thoughts, everybody. And, you know, my late night thought is, I think you guys are all wrong. You got it all wrong. I think it's just one big coincidence. I really do. I think everyone's got it wrong. And honestly, I think I've seen more people come together in this great time of challenge and galvanize, and I think we're going to get through it because, more importantly, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And I think we're going to power our way through it in the spirit and power of Ron Paul lives within all of us, who's the true Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, on that note, I want to thank the legendary crooner himself, the wonderful, the national treasure, Jim Fetzer, for being here tonight. I want to thank Neil, even though his inappropriate statements hurt feelings out there. It's okay. They're very meaningful. And also, I wanted to thank the incredibly intuitive Corey, who we have to have back on again. Wouldn't you say out there? He's just a world of talent, So thank you all for that. And thanks for your patience, everybody, on me. And I hope to be back to full form very soon. And in the meanwhile, we hope to bring you the best content and the best late night shows and thoughts that this independent media can offer. So for Jim, for Neil, and Corey, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your late night and your thoughts with us. Until next time, always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. Good night, everybody.
I'm So time for me.